keep in mind, we ain't gotta be perfect with it, because they'll edit out what they don't want.
Okay, it's running. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi, I'm Ronald Jacob Jr. I'm 23 years old, and I'm from Motown, Detroit, Michigan. And this is my dad, Ronald Jacob Sr.
Pleased to meet you.
So basically, Dad, we can talk about, let's tell them about the history of the Jacob family as far as our involvement in the automotive industry.
Well, we are pretty much an automotive family. My father worked at Chrysler for 41 years. I worked at Chrysler for 31 years. So we did most of our life we've been in the automotive industry. My father was very much a mechanic. He used to tear down cars, put them back together. At that time, I really wasn't interested at that time. I really did get interested in automobiles, probably a little, or maybe after around the 8th grade. When General Motors came to our school introducing a program called the Fisher Body Craftsman Guild. And it would allow young people to make cars out of clay, clay and wood, 1/12 scale. And we had the opportunity to eventually win scholarships to college. So I really got interested in cars then. So I knew that if I was going to be in this, I had to first learn how to draw a car well enough so I could put it in clay or wood. Eventually I did do that in my middle year of high school. And this was my project that I worked on till I was 21 years old, perfecting the skills. It really don't look like much now because I found it in my attic probably about 5 or 6 years ago. So the paint had begun to buckle on it and all type of things. A very unfortunate thing happened, but I spent probably 2 years just perfecting the paint job. And the very evening of the last day of entering, at my last year, which was 21, I was bending over to get the box to put it in, and I knocked it over on the floor, and I busted up the front end. So it never made competition after all of that work. But I never really lost interest in, designing cars and that type of thing. So eventually, Ron come along, probably at around the age of
I was probably around 3 or 4 when I started drawing. And then you saw me drawing, and it looked just like some doodles that any ordinary kid would do. It wasn't nothing necessarily phenomenal about it, but what was interesting is that I just kept doing it. And then you saw it, and you showed me. I remember one thing very distinctly that probably was the most influential moment in my wanting to be a designer. You showed me how to draw a car. Now, this is what I mean. Before I drew cars like any other little kid. Now, you just watch.
You're going to have to hold it up.
Yeah, I know. So this is what my cars used to look like at that age. Just the typical box and circles, not a whole lot of understanding about how a car is really supposed to look. But I was trying, and he saw that. And so what he introduced me to was what design really means. And that's the understanding of the technical aspects of a product and the aesthetic aspects and merging those together. That's when you get design. So he showed me how to draw what he called a hot dog car. So he started off with a hot dog, like you see here. And then he drew the canopy, the cabin, where the people sit. And he showed me how the shape was important to the aerodynamics of the car. It wasn't just a box on top of a body. So he showed me how to do that much. And then the next thing he did was show me how to draw the wheels properly so that they're within the body of the car and not underneath it like a monster truck. So then we had that. And then he showed me how to draw the wheel wells. Like so. And then he showed me how to draw the doors. Of course, probably one of the most important parts of a car. Because if you don't have doors, you can't get in it. So, something this simple at the age of maybe 5 or 6 was a tremendous influence in my life. Because at this point, this was the introduction of what design is all about. Taking the imagination and linking that with reality to come up with something that's realistic but also innovative. So I went from that to, I just kept drawing until eventually I enrolled at the College for Creative Studies after I graduated from high school in 2008. And freshman year, by the time I was freshman year, I was doing work like this. On this level. So this is an aircraft that I drew freshman year. It was 2008. Let's see. This is a hot rod. Big difference from the hot dog car. This is the shooting star from Speed Racer. If you're a Speed Racer fan, anime fan, you probably recognize this off the bat. It was one of my most favorite cars because it was so aerodynamic and the styling was so iconic and distinctive. So things like this were very influential in my learning how to draw cars and my influence on design. Junior year, I was drawing like this. Junior year of college. So this is an example of what I was doing at that point. So you see it's a big difference from this. But it all started here. And this guy got me into it. So that's from, so you can...
I never really let him lose interest, in drawing cars. He drawed all the time. And whenever one of his drawing pads would run out, I'd always have supply of them. I'd give him another one. And I used to have a design competition with him. As he was growing along, I would design something and say what performance it had out of it. And he would draw something to be competitive. So he just, grew and grew. And I was sitting reading my Sunday paper one Sunday. And I saw a particular program that they offered inner city kids. It was sponsored by the College of Creative Studies and General Motors. And they come to your school, not his school, but there were schools in the city that had a program where they would teach them the basics of sketching and this type of thing. So I eventually got him in that program. And he was in that program for 3 years. And during that time, he was doing so well, he got a $90,000 scholarship to the College of Creative Studies.
It was like 80 grand, but close enough.
Yeah.
But so, automotive industry and design it's practically in my blood. So next thing I'll show you is what I do mechanically. So that'll be the next clip.